Some Boston home prices are dropping, but if you think that means a crash, you're dead wrong. The best homes are still getting snatched up within days, and while you're waiting for a big collapse, other buyers are locking in on deals that you'll wish you grabbed. Boston doesn't play by the same rules as the rest of the country. In most cities, when prices drop, you've got months, sometimes years to make your move. Here, the windows are tiny. The moment sellers adjust, buyers swarm back in and prices shoot right back up. That's why so many people who thought they'd wait for the bottom ended up chasing the market instead and paid tens of thousands more for less of a home. If you miss this window, you're not just missing a deal, but you could potentially be locking yourself out of Boston market for good. I'm Kimberlee Meserve, and I've spent nearly a decade helping hundreds of families buy and sell in Boston. I've guided clients through competitive bidding wars, slowdowns in the market, and majorly unexpected shifts. And I know exactly what separates the people who win in this market from the people who get left behind. So let's break down what's really happening here. By the end of this video, you'll know what's actually happening in Boston with prices, how to spot the real opportunities, and the biggest mistake that you cannot make in this market. Here's why you're seeing those scary headlines about a recession in real estate. The media loves dramatic stories, and when they see any price adjustment, they immediately jump to crash predictions. But Boston's market operates completely different than the national trend. Here's what we're actually seeing. It's more of a split market. First, we have tier 1 properties. Those are your updated, well-priced homes, and they're still selling in around 21 to 22 days. That is super fast. These properties are receiving on average 3 to 5 offers, and many are still going well above asking price. We're talking about 32% of the homes that have sold above list price in July of 2025. Now we have the tier 2 properties. Those are outdated homes that sellers are still pricing like it's 2021, or properties that need significant work. These ones are sitting longer, and we're seeing more price drops. In July, 53% of homes sold below asking price, but that doesn't mean that the market is crashing. It means that overpriced inventory is finally adjusting. The data tells a different story than the headlines. The median home price in Boston was $835,000 in June of 2025. That's up about 0.1% from last year, which shows stability, not collapse. Meanwhile, homes are still moving quickly. 21 days on market compared to 21 days on market last year. So this isn't a crash, it's a market recalibration. So let me give you the hard numbers that really matter. Like I said, the median home price is around $835,000 to $846,000, depending on what source you look at. Essentially, it's flat year over year. This shows price stability, not dramatic drops. Days on market are about 21 to 22 days for the average home, with really well-priced properties moving so much faster than that. Some hot homes are pending in just a week, really. For inventory, we had 2,164 homes for sale in July, which is actually a 4.4% decrease from June. So we're still dealing with super tight inventory, not oversupply. When we look at sales volume, 500 homes sold in July, down just 1.2% month over month, and only slightly down from last year. So when you compare this to the national market, where inventory actually increased 36.6% year over year, and homes are sitting on the market an average of 50 days nationally, Boston is kind of operating in its own universe. When we take a look at buyer demand, the market is still competitive. It's about a 78 out of 100 on the competition scale, and that's not what you see in a recession market. The takeaway here is that Boston isn't in a free fall, it's recalibrating after years of explosive growth. Boston has some built-in advantages that other cities simply don't have. The first one is we're an economic powerhouse. We're home to Harvard, MIT, Mass General, Brigham and Women's, and a biotech industry that is growing and employs over 143,000 people at an average salary of $200,000. Even with some recent biotech job growth slowing to about 0.03% in 2024, the industry is still projected to add about 16,000 new jobs by 2029. That's 11.6% growth compared to just 3.4% for the overall Massachusetts economy. We also have really limited supply. Geographic constraints mean that we just can't build our way out of demand, which is something that a lot of other cities have experienced and actually gotten themselves into issues over. We have the water on one side Existing neighborhoods that have so much history you're not going to change, and then zoning restrictions that create natural limits on housing supply. The rental market also contributes here, with median rents around $2,500 for a one-bedroom and $3,200 a month for a two-bedroom. Strong rental demand keeps investors active in this market. Boston actually remains the fourth most expensive rental market in the country, which supports property values in turn. And then we have economic stability. So the total employment in the Boston metro area was 2.7 million in June of 2025, essentially unchanged from last year, showing a lot of stability even as other markets are fluctuating or seeing mass layoffs. So look at a map of Boston right now, and neighborhoods like Cambridge, Back Bay, South End, and even emerging areas like East Boston and Somerville are still seeing strong buyer interest and quick sales. Here's where smart buyers are finding deals and why these opportunities even exist. So first, overpriced listings. In July, 14.7% of Boston listings saw price cuts. These aren't distressed sales, they're sellers finally pricing realistically after testing the market too high. You also want to look for motivated sellers, people that have job relocations, divorce, estate sales. Life happens, and these situations can create opportunities for buyers who can move quickly and close without drama. Look for properties that need cosmetic updates. Homes that need paint, flooring, or kitchen updates are sitting longer because most buyers want move-in ready. But if you can see past dated finishes, you're competing against so many fewer buyers. The key distinction to make, though, is a real deal versus a money pit. And that comes down to the bones of the property. You want a good structure, solid systems, a decent layout, and a solid location. Surface level issues are fixable. Things like paint, finishes that may not be to your taste, but foundation problems or other major structural issues will eat your budget alive. These entry points exist because Boston buyers have gotten so much pickier, not because the fundamentals of our market have changed. Quick timeout. If you are moving to Boston from out of state, I've created something specifically for you. My free Boston relocation guide breaks down everything that you need to know. Neighborhoods that you should consider, commute times to major employers, school districts, even hidden costs that no one tells you about. Make sure to scan the QR code on your screen to download it. It's going to save you months of research and costly mistakes. There's also a direct link in the description below. Now let's talk strategy. For buyers, focus on value, not just discount. A property might be reduced from 1.2 million to 1.1 million, but it might still be overpriced compared to homes that are selling for 950,000. Make sure to do your homework on recent sales and validate that the comparables are there. Get pre-approved now so that you can move fast when the right property hits the market. In Boston, good deals don't last. You need to be ready to submit an offer within 24 to 48 hours of a property hitting the market, especially if it's a really good deal. Don't assume that waiting creates a better deal. While some overpriced inventory is adjusting, well-priced homes in good condition are still getting multiple offers. That bottom that you might be waiting for probably is never going to come. And for sellers, price for the market that you're in, not the one in your head. If comparable homes have sold for 800, don't list at 950 hoping to test the market. You'll just end up chasing the market down. Make sure to prep and stage so that you can try to hit that tier 1 buyer demand. Things like fresh paint, decluttered spaces, and move-in ready condition will separate your property from the competition. Homes that sit on the market do develop a stigma. After 30 to 45 days, buyers might start wondering what's wrong, and you'll likely get less than if you priced correctly from the start. So all of this is really a mindset shift. Stop chasing the mythical bottom. In Boston, perfect timing is less important than good decision-making and quick execution. So what's next for Boston real estate? Well, in the short term, let's call it the next 6 months, interest rates are expected to stay in the 6.4 to 6.8% range. So really no major change. Some economists predict that they could fall to 6 to 6.5% by the end of the year, but I wouldn't count on any dramatic drops. Seasonal patterns do still matter. We typically see slower activity in winter months, then picking up in the early spring, sometimes late winter, depending on the snow. Use winter to get pre-approved and to start looking. You'll have less competition and more motivated sellers. And then the long term, we'll call that 12 to 24 months. We have a development pipeline of over 13,000 units that are still under construction in Boston right now, but that's still not enough to dramatically shift the supply-demand imbalance. When it comes to population and job growth, the city continues to attract high-income professionals, students, and researchers. With universities like Harvard and MIT, plus the biotech industry's long-term growth projections, demand fundamentals are predicted to remain strong. So Boston's economy isn't dependent on one industry, which makes for a lot of stability in our fundamentals of our market. Let's talk about why the fundamentals support stability. First of all, Boston's economy isn't dependent on one industry alone. We have healthcare, education, finance, and tech, creating a diversified base that's historically weathered downturns better than single industry cities. So let's reframe the big takeaways. This is not a market to wait and see. It's a market to watch closely and act decisively. The home seeing price drops aren't necessarily deals. They're corrections on overpriced inventory. The real opportunities are still moving fast, and the buyers who win are the ones who understand value, not just discounts. Boston real estate operates by different rules because we have different fundamentals. Limited supply, strong demand drivers, and a resilient economy mean that even in a slower market, good properties in good locations don't stay on the market long. If you're serious about making a move in the next 6 months, let's schedule a strategy call. My contact information is in the description below. I'll walk you through exactly what's happening in your target neighborhood or town, and we can create a game plan that positions you to win. And if you want to see exactly which Boston neighborhoods are worth your money in 2025 and which ones you should avoid, watch this video about the best and worst neighborhoods in Boston. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.